It matters because you matter. And the more that we can begin to truly embrace that we matter, the more that we can then understand that our ideas, our thoughts, our aspirations, our dreams, our wants, our needs, our desires matter. And so thought leadership and the idea of thought leadership is about shaping culture. Ideas shape the way we live. They shape the way we perceive ourselves. They shape the way we perceive each other. They are the guardrails for how we interact in our society and our larger global world. And unfortunately, many of us have been conditioned through what we've experienced in media and culture to believe that there's only a certain type of person that has the monopoly on ideas, or only a certain type of person that has the monopoly on shaping and informing culture. And it's just not the truth.
You're listening to Madam Speaker Says, your no fluff cheat code to becoming the voice everyone listens to. I'm your host, Machokhodi. If you've been waiting for a permission slip to straighten your crown and take up space like you invented the blueprint, Madam Speaker Says got you covered. No whispers, no apologies, just you, me, and some bold ass moves. Let's get into it. Welcome. This is Madam Speaker Says that you are listening to. I'm your host. I am Machokhodi. On Madam Speaker Says, we take you behind the storytelling with some of the most powerful women of color thought leaders who are completely disrupting the game of what traditional fuddy-duddy thought leadership looks like and the work that we really need to get to in order to usher in the kind of world that we give a damn about, that we want to live in, okay? And let me tell you something. We just really like come close, because this woman who I have here, who is our guest, is the maker of some of the most important change makers at work today. She has coached big household names that you know, like Reshma Sanjani, like Gabrielle Bernstein, but she hasn't stopped there. She has taken her message of transformation and how do you answer your deep life, soul, personal calling, and turned that into coaching that has touched thousands of lives around the world. She's been on every single stage that matters, okay? Like TED, which you know about, and the ones that you don't know about, where power is really being brokered. And she's also written these two beautiful books that we're about to get into today. Ra, it is such a deep joy and an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my joy and privilege to be here.
We're going to dive right in because we have a lot to learn from this gorgeous human being. And the very first question, Ra, that I ask all of our guests is, why does thought leadership matter? And particularly, why does thought leadership matter to women of color, to people who are at the margins, to people who don't see themselves as thought leaders, right? Because one of the things that I think is brilliant, you call out in your latest book, and it's right there behind her. It's called Intentional Ambition. One of the things that you call out is some of us come from cultures where we've been oppressed for so long, we count ourselves out because the systems have failed us. But then we start kind of believing that Kool-Aid and we're like, well, why would I ever be that person? So why, and here's my dog chiming in, why does thought leadership matter for those of us who don't necessarily see ourselves in models of thought leadership today?
Yeah. It matters because you matter. You know what I mean? And the more that we can begin to truly embrace that we matter, the more that we can then understand that our ideas, our thoughts, our aspirations, our dreams, our wants, our needs, our desires matter. And so, thought leadership and the idea of thought leadership is about shaping culture. Ideas shape the way we live, they shape the way we perceive ourselves, they shape the way we perceive each other. They are the guardrails for how we interact in our society and our larger global world. And unfortunately, many of us have been conditioned through what we've experienced in media and culture to believe that there's only a certain type of person that has the monopoly on ideas, or only a certain type of person that has the monopoly on shaping and informing culture. And it's just not the truth. Moreover, when we look at what moves through us in terms of the ideas and the inspirations, they really speak to all of humanity. And I want to say that is important because also, again, we've been conditioned to believe if you look a particular way, well, you're only talking to people who look like you or who come from your region of the world or who, right, believe what you believe. Um, and the truth of the matter is that we all carry, first of all, we're one, let's be clear, right? One consciousness, one humanity, and we all carry the elixir for humanity. And the more that we can embrace, honor, and celebrate the unique perspective and purview that we move through, that we've cultivated, that we've been developed, or that has been shaped in us as us, and allow that to speak to the world, the more we have access to the kind of world we want to be, and the more we have access to the kind of people we want to be.
Okay, mic drop. Such a mic drop. And speaking immediately and directly to my next question, which is what's at stake when we don't speak up, right? When we allow the traditional, really fuddy-duddy thought leadership, when we allow what is flooding currently our public squares to be the loudest voice, what is at stake? And you're starting to name that we miss out on the world that is possible.
Yeah.
I also hear you saying, and you say this so beautifully, that we matter and our mattering is I hear it as a matter of spiritual charge. And I want to call that out because I want to ask, dear listener, how many times have you heard thought leadership being held in tandem at the same time with spirituality, that this is a calling from our ancestors, that this is calling from universe, that this is part of how we lock into we are one,
Yeah.
something so much bigger than any one of us or one identity. I mean, what you're saying is so profound if people let it sink in.
Yeah. I mean, and it's what happens if we allow only one hue or only one perspective or only one voice or only one tone is we get what we get. And what we all know about what we have right now is that it's not enough. And not only is it not enough, and in some ways it's too much, right? It's both not enough and too much, right? But what we know about it is that our souls, every single one of us, desire to experience the fullness of what wants to move through us. And in any straight shape or form, when we deny that, then we don't have access to the greatest joy. We don't have access to the greatest freedom. We don't have access to the greatest fulfillment. And so our voice matters because we're here for a reason.
Talk about
And
it.
if we, if we understand, like, at a fundamental reason, like, we're not just here to take up space and
Talk
oxygen.
about it.
Like, we are here. Like you came with a charge, beloved, right? You came with a charge. You came with love to give. You
Yes,
came with ideas to foster. You came with
yes,
opportunities, right? To broker and facilitate. You came with communities to cultivate and love and nurture, right? You came.
yeah, yeah. And when you don't answer that call, right, that you came here to give, you are robbing us. You are robbing us. But I want to talk about something that I know you know this very well, right? The reason why people hold back from saying the thing that needs to be said, from going counter, right, to what the popular narrative is. A really powerful example in your most recent book is during the pandemic in the United States, there was something called the Great Resignation. And mainstream media was like, well, I don't know what to do with this. You don't have another job. You got like 3 children to feed. What's your story? What are you thinking? And your counterintuitive wisdom was actually, I know exactly what you're thinking. Like that, yeah, this doesn't make sense if the only way that we're measuring sense is the way that we've always done things. But like this actually, this matters and this makes sense. Here's what I want to understand. When everybody is swimming upstream, right? And here you are, you decide, you see what the trends are in the current, and you read the stream completely differently. What gives you the courage to overcome that fear of like, if I go on CNN and I say this great resignation isn't crazy, everyone's going to turn around and look at me as like, Rav, you like, are you cool? Taking off vitamins? Like, what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So, how do people overcome that fear?
Yeah. I want to say that it is imperative that we cultivate courage as a practice.
Mm,
As a practice. And part of what I want to invite every single one of us to think about is a moment where we've been in a room where everyone has been nodding their head and someone has had the courage to speak the truth.
mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm,
sense of relief
mm-hmm,
that we feel.
mm-hmm,
And I want to name this because often we step over the moments of cognitive dissonance, or we step over the moments of intuition where we feel everything like, okay, sure, all the words sound pretty, but there's something in our body that's
mm-hmm,
telling us, this is not quite. And we've been trained, all of us, to step over it, 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 right? As if we don't see it until it becomes unavoidable, right? And part of cultivating courage is about being willing to honor and recognize even the most nuanced movements that are pointing us towards our truth, right? And our truth is love. I want to say that. Our truth is love. It's
yeah,
not righteousness,
yeah,
though I know sometimes we can get it twisted. It's not righteousness, but it is love.
yes,
And part of being willing to be love, part of being willing to embrace love, part of being willing to own love fully is to say the hard things,
mm,
is to say
mm,
the inconvenient things,
mm,
is to say the unpopular
mm,
things
mm,
with the greatest compassion.
mm, yes,
And that is a skill
mm,
that we have to cultivate. We start to talk about what are the new tools, what are the new capacities, right, that we are being called to develop. The great resignation for me was about that. Right? This is not convenient.
mm,
It's exactly what you said, right? I had babies to feed.
Mm-hmm.
right? I have shelter to
Right.
provide. I have food
Right.
I need to put on the table. It is not convenient for me to say enough. I'm done. But my truth is screaming at a level that it can no longer be ignored, right? Like it had become untenable.
Mm-hmm.
And when we think about that, at that level, at that scale, what are we saying about the systems and structures that are attempting to hold, right?
Mm-hmm.
This world of work that we find ourselves in.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're in this moment of rapid, I mean,
Yes.
and you know, rapid doesn't even really even do it justice, right?
Mm-hmm.
This hyper warp speed, change, and the sort of chaotic nature of what we're living in right now is forcing us to have to give up the facade
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yet again
Mm-hmm.
to really ground ourselves in what feels true. May not be easy, may not be convenient, may not be popular, but there is something that does happen for every single one of us when we acknowledge our truth.
Can you give us an example in 2025, because we're about to wrap this year, right? Where you have been called towards this moment of truth? Because I think and I know that that truth telling that you're talking about and speaking it both from compassion, but also understanding that this is in the service of being love is so counter to how most esteemed thought leaders think about even thought leadership. It's all about strategy. It's all about getting on the right covers, right? It's all about networking. And what you're proposing is fundamentally, you're like, we're not going to negate that because we're not just going on vibes and we're not going on vibes. We're going on something that is eternal, love,
Yeah.
the bedrock of who we are. Can you give us an example where you've been pushed or called, like pulled or pushed towards this? What is my truth? And am I saying that loud?
Yeah. I mean, I feel almost that every day of my life is about this now.
Mhm.
And I want to maybe go a little bit deeper. This has been a tough emotional year for me.
Mm,
And what I know is I have been so not alone in it,
mm, mm.
right? And that is what the privilege of having the ability to tour the country and sit at tables and hold hands and lock eyes with people has given. And it's something that I feel that any leader who is truly serious, and I want to even go beyond leader, any person that is truly
Mm.
serious about wanting to make a difference in the lives of other people, we need to always have our ear and our heart to the ground
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
really understand what people are grappling with, to really understand what people
Mhm.
are working to navigate. And it's been a tough emotional year for me, both because I have witnessed what I feel has been so much harm and hurt in
Mhm.
the world, watching
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
um, losing all kinds of things, right?
Mhm.
You know, whether we talk about unprecedented violence, whether we talk about unprecedented climate disruption,
Yes.
or whether we talk about what has happened with the instability of all kinds of markets and industries,
Mhm.
or we just talk about man's inhumanity toward man,
Mhm.
which we have lots of ways of witnessing under the auspices of leadership and power,
Mhm. Mhm.
dare I say, right? Under the auspices of leadership and power. But there's also been a very personal reckoning for me with the fact that we are at the end of an era,
Mhm.
and the world that as we know it is dying.
Mhm.
And many of us feel it,
Mhm.
and a lot of us are having a hard time facing it.
Mhm.
And there's so much questions about how we navigate it or what does it mean for each of us. when it's all said and done. Um, but the thing that has continued to give me life in the face of deep grieving and mourning, right? Because both are true, right? I have grappled and struggled like many with the existing paradigm,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also so
Mm-hmm.
much of what I've known,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this is, I think, the case with so many of us, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
the toxic
Mm-hmm.
relationship that's
Yes.
hard to leave,
Yeah.
right?
Don't leave me. You're so terrible to me.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, but what I know is that if I'm willing to surrender and let go of trying to control
Mm,
how change occurs,
mm,
that what will emerge for me will be greater than I could have ever imagined.
mm, mm.
And what is going to be required of every single one of us, Mahahodi, is us giving ourselves permission to dream again,
Mm,
giving ourselves permission to come back to our deepest longings,
mm,
giving ourselves permission to return to our greatest desires,
mm,
giving ourselves permission to play again, to imagine again,
mm,
to be childlike in our wonder again,
mm.
which are all of the things that we've been conditioned to believe we ain't got time for,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not really important
Yeah.
because that's not going to pay the bills or that's not going to make you respectable in the eyes of whoever and so on and such forth, right? And so our willingness to give ourselves the permission to truly be co-architects of a new future
Mm-hmm.
in the face of recognizing that the world as we know it is unraveling at the seams is the call, is the opportunity.
Yeah. Honestly, the silence is on purpose because what you're inviting us into and what you're asking us to embody in order to be equal to what is here already, right? The world that you're talking about that is in the rearview mirror, it's not crumbling. It has crumbled. And
Yeah,
what you see right now in front of you is the vestiges of old guard power trying to hold on. And we're being called to do something radical that has been trained out of us, as you say.
yeah,
How
yeah,
do we imagine? How do we play? How do we be? How do we just be? And what I
yeah,
want to understand in the practical sense, you are a woman who owns a thriving company. You serve multi-million dollar organizations, individuals, right? How does this manifest at that level, at the level of I am responsible for all of these people and their livelihoods, and
yeah,
I'm responsible for all these people and their transformation because you're a coach.
yeah,
We're not talking about something where it's like, okay, now you go on this nice retreat, let's go meditate and dream. We're talking about something that's real time that has implications on your P&L, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
make it real to the person who is listening. What is this inside an organization that you're leading and where you really are? Everybody else turns and looks at you as like, you're the thought leader. You have ideas about where we're going.
yeah, yeah. It is being willing to be surrendered, even in the face of having everyone look to you, right?
Mm, mm,
And when I say being surrendered, there are three things that I think are imperative to that. One is that you're listening. You're genuinely
mm,
listening.
mm,
You're listening not only to your own sacred wisdom,
mm,
but you're listening to the sacred wisdom of those around you. And I
mm,
want to be clear about this when I'm saying those around you. Those who you know care,
Mm-hmm.
about the mission, those who you know care about the well being of whatever it is that you're building or creating, right? So you're listening deeply to your own wisdom. You're listening deeply to the wisdom of those around you who you know care and who want the best for you and all that you're building and architecting and moving.
Mm.
And you're releasing the need to control how it goes.
Mm.
And that's the hardest part,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Because when people look to you, it's very hard
Mm.
to distinguish leadership from control.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because in our existing paradigm, that's all we've seen. Oh, if you're the leader, that means you call the
You're
shots and you're in
in
control,
charge, yeah. Yeah.
right? And so then it becomes the question or the opportunity to ask, what is the greatest source of my leadership? What is the greatest
Mm.
influence in my leadership? And I'm going to say to you, it's what you model as
Mm-hmm.
an example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes modeling means being willing to own that you don't have all the answers,
Yeah.
but you're doubling down on your commitment to the change or the transformation or the impact or to where you want to go,
Yeah.
right? And you're inviting the wisdom, you're inviting the brilliance, you're inviting the genius of the collective, right? As my beloved Lori Hanu would say, right? You're inviting the genius and the brilliance of the collective, of the ensemble, as she would call it,
Mm.
to come in and co-architect and co-create with you.
Mm.
And you're trusting and believing that whatever you think you would extract on your own, like this is going to be even better, right? This
Mm-hmm.
has the potential to be even better than what any individual could construct on their own.
Mm.
What it requires, come back to new capacities. What it requires, I talked about this capacity to listen. What it also requires is the capacity to really believe in more than enough.
Mm-hmm. Whew, that one.
There's more than enough space. There's more than enough love. There's more than enough contribution. There's more than enough money. There's more than enough shine. Whatever are the things that we've been taught to believe are in short supply. So making room within ourselves becomes necessary and crucial to being able to powerfully partner and collaborate with others.
Mm.
And we are in a season where we are being called in very real time,
Yeah.
to heal and service to the next vision of collaboration,
Yeah.
and what true collaboration looks like.
Ra, I want to call out this super powerful thing that you were saying, which is how we lead and relinquish control and allow ourselves to be part of a collective that is wiser than any one individual is such a fundamental reimagining of the idea of thought leadership itself, right?
Yeah.
Traditional thought leadership, Ra, star on a stage, doing all of the things, getting all of the applause. And I'm not saying that hierarchies and knowing who the person, who the buck kind of stops with isn't
Mm-hmm.
important, right? We just
Mm-hmm.
spoke about your organization and you being the person who is the ultimate decision-making person. But what
Mm-hmm.
you're saying is such a flip of what thought leadership is. This is a community project. This
Yeah.
is not you on your ego trip. This is
Yeah.
you humbling yourself enough to listen deeply. Like you
Yeah.
don't get to be a really like the kind of thought leadership that we're interested in, who actually disrupts, who actually changes culture for the best of 7 generations forward. They're not doing the thing of, I got this. Like, just show me where to show up and like make me look pretty and mic me up. That's not what we're about. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
So radical. So
yeah.
radical.
And the truth of the matter is we have a deep and long tradition, an abiding tradition of this. It's just not heralded
Mm,
in our culture,
mm,
right? Because we've been taught to believe, well, the
mm,
spotlight can only be on one person.
mm. Oh my God.
And so
Say more. Say more about that. Ra, say more. Because
there has always been the council.
Mhm,
If we think about our ancient uh, tribes and villages and communities, there has always been a wisdom council. There
mhm,
has always been a
mhm,
place where we've held the collective wisdom and we've drawn from it and drawn upon it in making our decisions.
mhm,
And so, in many ways, there is a returning
mhm,
to our roots in order to be well equipped to architect a future, right? And both are true, both are necessary. If we think about the bird of Sankofa,
mhm.
right? The bird is looking back to go forward.
Ghanaian proverbs. Yes.
You know what I mean? And so our understanding, right? And I now kind of want to bring it right into the center of your reality, right? You who beloved who is listening. It means that if you believe that there is more than enough,
Mm,
you'll show up with another level of generosity
mm,
and permission
yeah.
for yourself as well as for others, right? And for some of us, we got all the generosity and permission in the world for everybody else, and we don't have it for ourselves,
Mhm,
right? And for others of us, we might have to, you know what I'm saying? Like we may be in different parts of this equation
mhm,
and different parts of the continuum. The thing that enables us, though, to be able to collaborate fully is a deep trust and belief that what we need in order to thrive, will be cared for.
mm,
And that often for us requires a new level of honesty
mm,
about what we need and what we require.
mm. Okay. Okay. Okay, intentional ambition. Talk about it. Because
So it's the honest, like that, like, if we want to go step one, right? Like, what can you do today
yes.
is tell the truth to yourself
Yes.
about how you're feeling about fill in the blank. Fill in the blank. How you feeling about your job right now?
Yeah.
How you feeling about the collaboration or partnership in your relationship right now?
Mhm,
How you feeling about caring for your babies right now?
mhm,
Right?
mhm,
For some of us, and this is where the great resignation became such a profound opportunity for awakening. People had never asked themselves that before.
mhm,
People never felt they had the luxury of asking themselves.
mhm.
People never felt like it was important before. What was important was that you would do what was expected of you.
Mm,
Whether that was what was expected of you by the people who loved you or what was expected of you by the people who didn't,
mhm.
who were just here to ride the coat of whatever you were here to bring in terms of your labor, your brilliance, your expertise.
Yes.
Y'all hear me? So, this question, this most provocative question, what do I really want? What do I really, 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 really want? Which underneath that is what do I really, 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 really need? What is really going to make a difference for me is the most provocative question we can ask ourselves.
And it's also the most scary,
And yes, 100,
right? Like, let's talk
100%.
about that because once we're in touch with just even entertaining that question, now you're asking me to talk about not only what I don't want, but what my current situation is, and do I
That
have
part.
courage to face it?
That part. Right. What am I tolerating? Let's just call it what it is. What am I tolerating? What is working and what is not working? Right. In the book, we talk about this process of renegotiation, right? I talk
Mhm.
about kind of,
Mhm.
negotiation, AKA what I call navigation, is the world where we've been, where we've
Yes.
come to the table and it's been somebody else's terms and it's our job to navigate with, mitigating as risk as much as we can to try to succeed in that paradigm, right? Resignation 1.0 is where we just give up and we sort of become resigned,
Yes.
right? Like that's just the way it
Quiet
is. And
quitting. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right? And resignation 2.0 is the sort of peace out, no more, which sets the stage, right, for awakening. But this renegotiation conversation is all about what are the new terms and conditions.
Mm.
What are the new terms and conditions? And whether we're looking at it in a very, very micro context or
Mm.
whether we're looking at it in a very, very macro context,
Mm.
the opportunity for each of us is going to be reclaiming, realigning, and reimagining,
Mhm.
right? Reclaiming. What are the narratives that I have carried or
Mhm.
held on to
Mhm.
or even facilitated, right? And perpetuated that no longer serve me,
Mm.
that no longer empower me,
Mm.
that no longer invite or create the space
Mm.
for my joy, my freedom, or my fulfillment, and maybe never did,
Mm.
right? So this is, you start to talk, get to the heart of what do you really want, right? And then the second conversation is the conversation of realignment, which is about my values and what I value, what really, really matters to me when it comes down to it, when it's all said and done. What's really, really important here? And what's working and what's not working
Mhm.
when I get clear about what matters,
Mhm.
right? And this one is profound because even the most nuanced experiences of not working contain the greatest pearls of liberation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even the smallest thing that compromises our energy,
Mhm.
right? And I want to see, I love the way you frame this conversation of integrity because I want to say that your integrity is your energy.
Mm.
Your authenticity is your energy.
Mm.
And this is an important conversation because our mind can tell us anything.
Right.
We can justify anything, you
Right.
all, and we have.
Right.
But your energy doesn't lie.
Mhm.
Your
Mm.
energy is the true indicator of what is working and what is not working.
Ooh,
So you
that is
get to just
good.
ask a really simple question.
That is good.
What is giving me life versus what is sucking me dry?
Yeah. Your energy does not lie, right? And it tells you the truth.
Tells you the truth about where you are.
And one of the things that you go into in your book is the energy field where you were that told you the way that I've been doing this, the way that I've been modeling this to my team, the way that I've been modeling it to the outside world. Like that it's a wrap. It's a wrap on that.
Done.
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 So can
Yeah.
you take us to the moment when you understood that this wasn't just I'm tired, this wasn't
Yeah.
just a one-off thing of like, okay,
Yeah.
I took a really long nap during the pandemic. Now it's time to like get back to business as usual. The moment where you were like, actually, I need to be honest with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I describe this experience and I trust that you all know this for yourselves, which is when you're tired or when you're challenged, there are things that we go to that enable us to get back up, right?
Mhm.
When we fall
Mhm.
down, when we stumble, there are things we go to. And everything I went to wasn't working. There
Mm.
was nothing
Mm.
that enabled me to get off the couch, right? And my meltdown, you all, happened in 2017, right? So my joke
Right.
is I quit before the pandemic, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
but when I hit what I hit, which was the bottom of the bottom, I literally could not get off the couch.
Mm.
No threat, no persuade, like there was nothing that could get me off. And I remember talking about, particularly for me, a living ancestor is Harriet Tubman.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
I have had periods in my life where, bleak is not the word. I've been facing, situations and circumstances that are very much life or death, situations or circumstances where there's just a lot of fallout, there's a lot of risk, there's a lot of all these kinds of things, right? And I've held it for the leaders that we've had the privilege of serving. And when I tell you that Harriet couldn't move me, I knew, I was done. I was like, I don't know what this is, but it cannot continue the way I've been doing what I've been doing. And that was what began to give me, and I want to say that my acknowledging of it, hard, you all, painful, vulnerable, embarrassing, all the things that we go through that will cause us to not say when it's too much. And I remember looking at my husband and just saying, I'm not okay. Like, I think I need help. And it was the beginning of what wound up saving me, right? And so I also want to say to you all who are listening to this, if you know you're there and you're trying to steel chin it or white knuckle it, right? Or brown knuckle it, right? Like, you know, because there are all kinds of knuckles in the world, y'all. Right? Like now,
Right.
like, this is, and really the most important relationship you are ever having is the one with you and you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if the pandemic taught us nothing else, it taught us that.
Mm. Mm.
Because if we utilize the opportunity of whatever we've been navigating through, and even in this time, because this has been a hard year for a lot of people, our ability to be in truth with ourselves is the foundation for everything we want to have, do, be, and build in the world.
Say that. Say that.
Right? The quality of how we treat ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, how we hold ourselves. When we talk about a pure, soulful, intentional space, is the foundation for everything else. Now, I'm not talking about ego, I'm not talking about braggadociousness. I'm talking about pure, sacred source spirit, you, and whatever you define as source. You and whatever source is you. Our ability to be in a space where we can speak the truth with love and compassion to ourselves about who we are, about what we need, and about what we desire is the revolution.
Wow. 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 Because how do we embody the revolution if we're not willing to be it and model it ourselves, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And here's the thing, Ra, for the person who's listening and who's either at the beginning or in the middle, you've given us a framework, right? And I really encourage people to pick up the book and get deeper with the framework of how do we realign? How do we reimagine? How do we ask ourselves, what is it that I want? Because you also have really powerful prompts in there that walk somebody through. You not only have written the framework, you lived the framework. What's on the other
yeah.
side?
and I'm going to say am living the framework,
And I love that.
right? Because
I love
renegotiation
that.
is an
I love
active
that.
practice. It's a
Yes.
sacred practice. Like courage, you all, is a sacred
Love
practice.
that.
Renegotiation is a sacred practice because we are forever changing, growing, and evolving. And the terms and conditions that worked for us yesterday may not be the terms and conditions that work for us tomorrow. And if we can understand that, if we can recognize that, if we can meet that with love, compassion, and permission, then joy, freedom, and fulfillment really, really are available. Like, really, truly are available, right? And sometimes, Mahawadi, we would be surprised at how the small things that get met create grand satisfaction, right? And I'm going to give an example here.
Yes.
My beloved husband, every morning he stands at the kitchen counter in his robe with his hair all over his head. I always joke about whether or not he's brushed his teeth. I don't know. But he has what he calls his cold brew moment.
Mm,
And it's 5 minutes in the morning where he drinks a cold glass of coffee
mm,
made exactly the way he likes it. And he looks out of the window, right? We have a beautiful patio porch. We are overlooking the water, very, very blessed. And he looks out and he just sips and greets the day. And it's a moment of deep quiet. It's sacred for him. On a good day, maybe it's 7 minutes, but it's normally 5.
mm,
If he's rushed, it's 3.
mm,
But
mm,
he gets it in. And there's something different about the quality of his day when he enables himself to have that, gives
mm,
himself permission to have that,
mm,
versus when he doesn't.
mm.
And if we think about those mornings where we have the opportunity to greet the morning versus those days where the morning is thrust upon us,
Yes. Yes.
it is a very different quality of experience,
Yes. And
right?
I'm also hearing in what you're saying, this is an answer to what do you need? What do you need in order to show up as the fullest version of what your promise is, right? And
That
that
part.
is such a huge tenet of what the book is about. And incidentally, you don't get to be the kind of effective, powerful, culture shifting thought leader like yourself without understanding, well, wait a minute, like, what do I actually need? What do I actually need to
Yes.
be able to stand on that TED Talk and tell my truth and tell it with
Yeah.
compassion, but tell it all the way from every inch of my lung, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to switch gears here, just in the interest of time, because I would be remiss if I did not ask you about this brilliant piece of work that you put out, right? So this is after you've been through 2017 and living through the framework, both creating, living through the framework from a place of a lot of challenge and pain, but then documenting the framework so we have it in our hands, and then living it as in, no, this is a living document. Now, here you are, and I think that this is so amazing. You are invited to speak at TED Woman, and all of the attention of our culture, mainstream, will go towards, oh my God, I can't believe 1.7 million people have seen this TED Talk, right? Oh my goodness, I cannot believe how completely mind blowing it is, the things that you have to say, which are the content of the TED Talk. For anybody who's listening and hasn't heard it, I highly recommend you go and you listen to this because it's about power and women and how do we reimagine the workplace to meet women and especially women of color in places where our vessel is full for work, right? And we're
Yeah.
reimagining the relationship of power. But what I want to understand is the journey to get there, because you did something kind of like low, like you got game, okay? You got some game. You got some game. The research that was so deep that you that you spearhead with, I believe it's Billie Jean
Deep,
King.
yes, Billie Jean King, and yes, and Deepa Purushothamam, who was my partner in the information work and collaboration, and yes, Billie Jean King and the Billie Jean King Leadership Initiative, all incredible, incredible souls, and all courageous souls. I mean,
Yes,
when you think about the legacy of Billie Jean
yes.
King, you're like, you know what I mean? At least, for
Sit
us, it
up,
was
sit
like,
up straight.
woo, right?
Yes.
You want to talk about somebody standing in the fire, right? And has really um, made that her life's mission,
Mm-hmm.
to keep standing in the fire around the things that really matter. Um, how do you prepare? Because I think that's a really powerful question. I think about from the very beginning, when Deepa and I did this work, and shout out to Deepa if you're ever listening and hear this, when we did this work, it was a lot of looking each other in the eye. Like, are we really going to say this? Are we really going to do
Mm,
this? Are we really going to, are we really going to go
mm,
here? Are we really going to,
mm.
And there was a way in which we continued to be fueled by, I think, our own recognition and conviction and the resonance of what we were saying with our own lived experiences, but
Mhm.
also, over the course of 5 years, 6 years, Deepa and I listened to thousands,
Yes.
the stories of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of women.
Mm.
So you start to see patterns. You start to recognize, oh my God, this is not just a personal anecdote. This is systemic.
Yes.
This is the water we're swimming in. And I think there was something about the realization of that, Mahahadi, that I think gave us permission
Mm-hmm.
to say we're not alone. We are
Mm-hmm.
so not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And we want every other person who's grappling to know that they're not alone too,
Yes. Yes.
right? Now I want to take this one step further, particularly as I'm speaking in this moment to women of color.
Mm.
We we have the antidote more than most because we have experienced what we've experienced.
Yes. Yes.
And we have a visceral relationship to what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want us to know it's not really working for white men either.
Mm-hmm. Say that part.
It's not, and if
Oh,
you
yeah.
can get into real honest conversation with them, they will tell you that,
Yeah. Because it
right?
requires them to be inhuman, right? Everybody is expected to check their humanity at the
At the
door
door.
in order to make this work.
Yes. And I will say to you and to us, the more we embrace and recognize that we are here for the world, not to be exploited, but we are here to give our gifts to the world
Hmm.
on behalf of the healing, the transformation, and the upliftment of the world,
Hmm.
the more we will know that we matter,
Hmm.
right? I come all the way home. The more that we will know that we matter,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
This last piece, because we've talked about reclaiming, we've talked about realigning, we went all the way in there and realigning, is the reimagining part.
Hmm.
And that brings us full circle to the what do you really want?
Hmm.
Now, traditionally, when we've asked ourselves this question, a couple of things have happened, at least I know in my own experience. When I asked myself back in the day, what do I really want? Immediately, what comes up are all my limitations. Well, what's feasible? What's possible? What's reasonable to expect? Right? And that comes right on the heels of the first question. And then the third question that comes right on the heels of that, and what's it going to cost me? Right? Which automatically takes about 75 to 80% of what's truly possible off the table. This is why I come back and I say to you all that the greatest opportunity we have right now is to dream and imagine. Because if you consider the fact that we've been settling for about 20% of what's possible, if we're lucky, if we're
Wow.
blessed,
Wow.
20% of what's
Wow.
possible, then you start to get to understand what really could be available if we took the guardrails off
Wow.
or the blinders off, right? So when we get to reimagine, ideally we've been in this place of reconciling and realigning. We've been in this place of reclaiming, right? We know there's a new narrative we want to live into. We know that there are things that are working for us we want to double down on, and there are things that are not working for us that we want to heal, right, release, and transform. Like we got the blueprint for that. Now is the place where we go, okay, imagine that all that's addressed. Now what do you want? From a place, standing in a place of infinite possibility, standing in a place of beyond what you could imagine or have given yourself permission to imagine before. What would it look like if you had your way? And the opportunity to live into that question, to lean into that question, to marinate into that question, and give room and space for what arrives, begins to now give us the tools to architect a new future. Oh, you're muted.
Like you said, this is a practice, right? So for the newbies who are new to the audacity of this kind of work, it is not supposed to be intimidating. It is not supposed to be, you have it all figured out. The work of imagining helps you figure it out. What I'm curious about is, given it is a practice for you in real life, what are the tools that you're using in order to actually practice? And then we're going to wrap up in just a moment with a rapid fire.
My creativity, you all, and I
Mhm.
want to speak it. Your artistry
Mm.
are the tools of your imagination,
Yes.
right? And many of you maybe don't consider yourselves to be artists, right? So I know I'm really calling you forth though, but we all are. We all are creators. We all
Yes.
are
Yes.
co-architects, right? And so for me, I've been like watercolor painting. And
Mm.
I'm the person where if you ever ask me to draw a circle, I'd be like, you really don't want to see, you really don't want to see my circle, y'all. Do you understand? But I'm not painting for that. I'm
Mm.
painting because I understand that it unlocks something in my spirit
Mm.
that gives me greater permission to create something from nothing, to work with a blank canvas and a blank slate so it becomes a metaphor,
Mm.
right, for my life. And so I'm saying this to you all because many of you have songs, have poems, have paintings, have dances
Mhm.
inside of you that want to be expressed, and that they are also part of the keys to unlocking
Yes.
those other aspects of your identity and those other aspects of your capacity to dream and imagine and vision. So today, if we start uber small, you ask yourself, and you can do this in the morning, ideally, you wake up, what wants to be expressed through me today?
Mm.
Or what would make me smile today?
Mm.
Or what would give me life today? What's
Mm.
today? Or
Mm.
maybe in this moment, or maybe over the next hour. If
Mm.
I could experience this, I feel like joy would be present for me,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So, us starting to begin to ask ourselves those questions on a very, 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 very intimate, small scale, then begins to give us access to the bigger explorations and the bigger inquiries. But your artistry, your creativity, your fun, your play, your adventure, right? Whether that's hiking outdoors, right? Whether that's taking a gorgeous, luxurious bubble bath, right? All of the things that just pull you out of the monotony of all of the things that want to grab for your attention and distract you from, right?
Yeah. Ra, you've given us so many powerful tools today, and I want the listener to be really aware of the invitation here, right? The invitation to ask yourself, what do I really want? And how is what I want in conversation and in service to this world that is radically reimagining our place here on the planet?
Yeah.
Completely reimagined. We don't know what's coming, but what you want in your deepest core desire is part of what needs to be born. And especially
Yes.
as a thought leader, whatever sits at the bottom of your voice that makes you quiver a little bit, that makes you like run to the restroom at 4 a.m., that
Yes.
is what we need to lean into. You've also spoken, and I thought this was brilliant, and anybody can borrow from this because it is part of the framework that you offer. Thought leadership is about listening so deeply, and it is about hitting the road and having these dinners. They don't have to be dinners. You can also hit the road virtually, right? I love cool
Yes.
chats with people that I don't know. Like, let's grab 30 minutes and just get to know one another and what's really on your mind. And understanding that your wisdom is the collective, that collective hive, and harnessing that and being strategic too, because those thousands of people, women that you were interviewing together with Deepa, that wasn't, oh, well, we can just randomly grab coffee. No, that was, tell me something specific about what's happening in your world around this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
through that, using that to inform the courage that you got as a thought leader to stand on a TED stage and say, I know y'all ain't ready to hear this, but guess what's really happening? And
Yeah.
all of us have the power to be able to do that on different stages, in different ways, different platforms. But the work of listening, the work of being
Yes.
strategic about how we research and who we research, and then sharing that out, all of us
Yes.
can do that, right?
Yes. 100%. And I do want to say, when you are standing on those stages, on those platforms, you aren't just speaking for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You are speaking for our world.
Mm-hmm.
Our world. You are speaking for the vision
Mm-hmm.
of what wants to be born, right? Through you and through all of the other people who are holding the energy field with you,
Yes.
right? For a better world. And so I say that because, to your point, sometimes it's about the egoic me, but sometimes it's about the who me, the
Yes.
scared me, the
Yes.
scared little girl, right? Or the
Yes.
scared little boy, right? Or the scared little
Yes.
soul, right? For my
Yes.
gender nonconforming beloveds, right?
Yes.
Whatever it is, to know that we need you.
Yes.
We need you
Yeah.
to voice, because when you voice, we find ourselves
Yeah.
in what you voice. It's the resonance that enables us to find each other.
Yeah. You know, the single most important takeaway I'm going to personally take from this masterclass is that thought leadership is spiritual work when it is done right. And I hear you saying that again. When
Yeah.
you open your mouth, what is at stake is the one. It is all of us. It is humanity. And when you open your mouth and you understand that you're speaking for and to and with humanity, you're not up there trying to like, look how cute I am. I mean, you are cute. That's not what we're talking about. But you're
Yeah.
channeling so much power. It reminds me of Eckhart Tolle and this really powerful, this completely changed how I think about who I am in so many ways. You are not somebody who has a life. You are life. I don't have a life. I am life. And when you stand up there and you speak from that place, you embody exactly what Ra has taught us today, that thought leadership is spiritual work. Ra,
100.
what is a project that you're excited about in the coming year or right now that you would love people to know about? And also, where can people find you?
Yeah, we are going to continue. I mean, just because of the great demand, which we feel so humbled by. We will continue to be at tables in 2026. We are now moving internationally
Yes.
in conversations, and our desire and hope is to continue to carve and create a space at the table where people can have these conversations, because we know that these renegotiations are happening in real time.
Mhm.
Our work will continue to deepen with leaders who are interested in figuring out their renegotiations
Mhm.
in service to their highest contribution and their purpose. So I'm excited about continuing to do that. The other work that is emerging for us is around sacred space,
Mhm.
and particularly partnerships and collaborations with land stewards, where
Mhm.
we're going to be building and developing and architecting even more immersive experiences. We've been doing immersive experiences for years, but we're in a moment now where constellations of communities are wanting
Mhm.
to come together and go deeper together with one another. And it's going to be our desire and dream and hope to help facilitate that in all of the ways in which we're being called to do that right now. So those are two things that I would say we're absolutely looking forward to in 2026.
That's delicious. And I look forward to that adventure. And I also look forward to supporting in any way that I can. I want people to know all the ways to contact Ra are going to be in show notes. But before we close, we do have a rapid fire. This rapid fire is fill in the blank. So I will read a statement and you fill in the blank. Today, I am deciding. I'm sorry, I can't read my own handwriting. Today, I'm dreaming about.
I'm dreaming about the world that I believe we are all being called to co-architect right now.
Hmm. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is
That we do not matter.
ooh, courageous imperfection is.
Being willing to show up in service to what wants to have life through you, knowing that you do not need to have it all figured out.
That's good. What I quit in 2025, and I'm leaving it behind because I'm looking at 2026, is
Yeah, the belief that I don't have everything I already need
hmm,
to give life to what I see.
hmm. Joy today is.
Time in the sun.
Ooh, yes, you speak my language. Courage comes from.
The practice of surrendering to what I know is my call.
Amen. Amen. This conversation has been so game-changing and such a gift and so present and so full of the love that you speak about, right? The root of who we are. I want to thank you from all of me, which is all of my life force. Thank you for being here, Ra. Thank you for joining us, dear listener. And I really am so excited for where this next adventure goes. This has been delicious. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahahadi. It's my joy, truly my joy.
All right. Thank you, listeners. I will catch you next week on another episode of Madam Speaker Says. Hey, pull up, pull up, pull up. Just you and me for a second. Are you an exec, a founder, or an entrepreneur who's sick of shrinking in rooms you're overqualified to lead? It's time to stop playing small and start owning your expertise. But how, Machochodi? Girl, I got you. I offer coaching that helps women of color just like you to claim your place as a thought leader. Whether you want to command a room, craft and share your signature story, or finally get that book out of your head and onto bookshelves, I've got the strategy and spicy accountability that you need. If you're tired of seeing less qualified folks shine while you stay behind the scenes, girl, the wait list is open. Follow the link in show notes to stop waiting for permission and claim your VIP spot now. My mission? Helping women just like you to snatch the spotlight, Shake the table and take your damn seat at the top already. No begging, no detours, and nope, no apologies. Just bold ass moves.